Can you guys hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can kind of hear you. Not very well, but kind of.
You might need to lean into one of them.
Yeah.
They'll pull out.
Pull it toward you. Yeah, there you
Some
go.
of them.
Are they both?
That-
This has got
I-
red, this has got green.
Yeah,
Then-
press that button to make it green, and that way they'll. There
I've
you go.
got a green now for you.
Spencer, is that better?
That's way better. Thank you.
There you go.
I
That is
just got a couple more things to push here.
okay.
Spencer, did you have a chance to read all those documents? I have not had a chance. I just been running like crazy.
I've read most of them, I think.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. It looks like we're up and going. Spencer, I think I can hear you fine. Mike, I can hear fine. We'll go ahead and begin our Soldier Summit Special Service District meeting, February 10th, 10 a.m. We have Mike Taylor and Tom Sackridge, County Commissioner, in the commission chambers. We have Spencer Park through Zoom. So we'd like to welcome and call everyone to order. First item we have on agenda is approval minutes for the November 12th meeting. Are there any comments to this? Spencer, Mike?
I have none.
I don't have any either. I'd like to make a motion that we approve them as presented.
I will second that motion.
So we second vote on that. All in favor say aye.
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 And aye, so 3-0. On number 2. Okay, number 3 is item 3 is to discuss the all water usage and potential agreements.
Where are we at with that?
Adam Beck, Utah County Attorney's Office. So right now, there's not a lot of updates to provide at this time. This was an item that was carried over from the last board meeting. But I did want to take a few minutes and just update Commissioner Sakovich on the situation. So the All Reds run sheep up at the Soldier Summit area, and they were landowners there and had their own water rights. So previously, the only thing that they ever paid us for was for their power to pump the water out to water the sheep. In the last year, they've sold their property, but they still run the sheep there. And so we need to start billing them for the water that they use. The question was presented at the last board meeting was how do we do that? They get their water from multiple sources, and so we don't have like a one metered location for them. And so at the last board meeting, we discussed having them get their own meter that they can take with them, and then when they need water, they hook up their meter, they keep track of the water, and then just let us know. And so that's the direction we're looking to go. It's just in the works right now. So that's the current status.
That's what you call the honor system, right?
The honor system, yeah, and from what it sounds like, they've been really good to work with in the past. They've never given us any issues to question the honor system.
Do you think there's a way, rather than have them meter that we just charge them a flat rate every month while they're using water? Wouldn't it be easier to do that?
I mean, it would definitely be easier. I think right now we have a hard time knowing how much they are using. Brady, I wasn't sure if you have any idea on that.
Brady Christensen with the Public Works Department. We could probably go back over the last 3 years and see what their usage is and maybe prorate it and just do a flat rate charge from June and through October or something and just charge them a monthly fee. Might be easier. Where they would probably have to increase what we've been charging them because they don't own the water now, but I don't think we want to get too extravagant because it benefits property owners up there as well, because they stay in Greenbelt. So I think we gotta look at that side of the fence too, so.
Is it a lot of water that they use?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have my stuff with me, but 150,000 gallons a year maybe, that
Yeah.
they're letting us know, 100 to 150,000.
Well, I would be for just charging them a flat rate, estimating what they've been using and come up with a flat rate to charge them and see if they'll be agreeable to that.
How long they've had the land, or previously?
They owned it for 2 years probably,
2 years, so we got some history there.
yeah. I think we've been billing them for 3 years, and the last 2 we only billed for power, so we could go back and see how much they've used each of those years. And we had a dry year in one of those years, so that will kinda, 3 years ago that we had the really dry year up winter, so their ponds and stuff don't fill up as much, so they start using water earlier on the dry years, so.
I just see challenges with trying to meter.
Well, yeah,
Them trying to
'cause
hook up a meter and
you're
then,
dealing with the sheep herders that don't speak real good English, and are they going to remember to do that every time? So that might be something to look at.
Yeah.
If everybody's in
So
agreement.
maybe we should continue this to the next one. Is enough time to decide between now and the next time we meet?
Yeah, and I will get with them. They have not sent me their usage for last year yet, so I don't know where we stand that way. I can get that figure, and then we can have a running total of what they've used.
would you be able to see how they feel about that if we just charge
can
them a
ask
flat
them.
rate?
If we just do a flat rate, monthly flat rate.
Spencer, are you okay with that?
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think we also want to make it really easy for them because their grazing really helps us with our fire danger.
It does.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to keep them on the mountain.
And they do a really, really good job of moving the sheep. It's not like it was before.
They do.
So if the water range is between 100 and 150, you'll know that later, I guess, as you get ready.
We'll get
Okay.
you a total.
Sounds great.
So is there a motion on this one then?
Well, I would make that motion that we, come up with a, annual rate that we charge them, from past historical water usage. We come up with what that is and, under the direction of Brady Christensen, and see what that rate would come out to be and what he would recommend, and go with that figure. I would make that motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Then let's go ahead and have a vote then. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
So 3-0. We'll continue this until the next session and get that language narrowed down and continue from there. Thank you. Number 4, ratify the Whiting Agreement for repairs of the well. Is anyone here to speak to that?
So this was also one that carried over from last meeting. This is one that we can strike. Mr. Whiting has done multiple repairs on the well in Soldier Summit. And so we're looking into potentially doing a longer-term agreement where we don't have to go through creating an agreement for each repair he does. We're hoping to do one for a longer period of time, but it's my understanding that before we can move forward in that direction, we have to do a RFP process and request some bids. And so that's also in the works right now. And so there's not an agreement for Mr. Whiting. There's no ratification. So I think we can strike this one.
So strike this and are you saying strike it permanently or just continues to the next one?
Let's just strike it permanently, and we'll, once that new agreement comes together, it'll be slightly different than what's the agenda item here.
Okay, so we have a recommendation that we have a motion to strike item number 4, and it may be addressed on some future date.
is that motion?
Made.
Motion to strike.
Do we have a motion to strike the item number 4 from?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I will second it.
so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so 3-0, to strike item 4. Item 5, review the financial statements. Is there someone here to speak to that?
Yeah, I will speak to that. So the packet included the financial statements. There's 3 documents that are part of the packet. The first page is a budget to actual. It's going to show 2019 actuals, 2020 budget compared to what has been expensed or received as of February 5th, and then also the 2021 budget, of course, which there aren't too many transactions for the 2021 budget yet. So if you look at that document, you'll be able to see everything is on track with the budget. There's not really any big outliers or budget concerns that I would have with that document. The next few pages are the balance sheet. And the 2 items that I would probably pay the most attention to on the balance sheet report are the cash balance and the fund balance. And both of those balances are positive, which is required by state law, so the district is compliant with the state code in that respect. Also, if you compare the balances as of December 31st, 2020 to the same period in the previous year, December 31st, 2019, you can see that the district has increased both their cash balance and their fund balance. I will make a note that part of the reason that the fund balance has gone up is because there have been some planned capital projects that haven't taken place yet. Some of that's been due to timing. Obviously, last year there were, with the unexpected COVID-19 pandemic, I think there were a lot of resources from Public Works that had to be dedicated to county projects. And then maybe just like people that wouldn't be available to do the work up at the district. So that's my one caveat with that fund balance. And then the final pages are the income statement, which is just more detail behind the first page, which really the budget to actual is kind of the same as the income statement. So I don't have any concerns about the financial statements. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board has.
Mike, Spencer, any discussion?
I think our budget looks
Don't have
good.
any.
Is that motionable? Do we accept?
Yeah, I think it is, but I was going to say that it's nice to see that growth despite the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which seems to be indicative of many other areas of the county. So I'll entertain a motion then on this, item number 5.
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget as presented.
Second?
Is that it?
Okay. Do we have
Second.
We have a first and a second, so all in favor say aye.
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 Aye, so it's 3-0 on number 5. Number 6, review, approve, and authorize payment of invoices and other current obligations for professional services, operations, maintenance, and other expenses. Deneen?
Yep, I think this one too. So there's actually going to be 2 reports of expenditures that need to be approved. One's for fiscal year 2021, and kind of in keeping with what state law is, we try and get the board to approve these expenses that we know are going to be happening up front. And some of these are estimates, and then we'll track those throughout the year. And if it starts to seem like we're going to use up what the board has approved, then we'll come back and request additional funding. So the first page for 2021 are items that we historically know that we spend. So we have Public Works, payroll-related expenses. So when they go up and check the water, the wells, or the lines, we're estimating about $25,000 for 2021. The treasurer postage, that's sending out the invoices to the customers. Where possible, we do try and send those by email to reduce the postage that's spent. Also, as you may be aware, the post office increased the postage rate this year, so by a penny, so it's a little bit more expensive. Rocky Mountain Power, that's the electricity that goes to the wells. Utah Local Government Trust, which is going to be an item later on in the agenda, that's the liability insurance for the district. And then the board has approved agreements with Utah County government for the Utah County Attorney's Office to provide legal services and the Utah County Auditor's Office to provide clerk and accounting services. And again, these are kind of what's going to be estimated to be spent during the year. Media One public notices, that's going to be required notices of public hearings, especially related to the budget. Freeway propane, that is, instead of using electricity to heat the well/pump house, we're using propane, which is actually a less expensive way to take care of that. And then the Lieutenant Governor's Office, because Soldier Summit is a special service district, they require the district to register with the Lieutenant Governor's Office, and they charge a fee of $25 for that registration. Utah County Recorder, those are liens that might have to be recorded for property owners who haven't paid their water bills. Last year, we didn't use any, we didn't issue any liens, but there is a fee to record such documents. And then Chemtech Ford is required water testing for the line. So those are what is known right now. Obviously, again, we're pretty early in the year, and especially with Soldier Summit being somewhat inaccessible. Actually, this has sadly been a year where we haven't had a lot of snow, it seems, but I expect that we'll see more project-related expenditures in the meetings to come. So that's kind of just, I spent a little more time on background on that just to familiarize the board with those expenses. That's 2021. And then in 2020, just sort of some wrap-up expenses that we have is Whiting Construction. There was a water line maintenance for about $7,100. There was Mike Zimmerman who did the SCADA system. And the board had approved the SCADA system. The labor came in a little bit higher than what the board had previously approved. And just as a little bit of background, that SCADA system is intended to help Public Works determine if there's any project or any problems with the system from home base here in Utah County, as opposed to having to drive up to Soldier Summit. So ultimately that should hopefully reflect a savings or an efficiency for the district.
So SCADA is a online, what is it? Does it provide visual as well as monitoring services?
I'll let Brady, the expert, answer that.
All I can say is it's wonderful. We can monitor the temperatures of the well house, so we know we're not freezing. We can monitor when the well pumps start. It'll tell us if they've started, or it'll tell us if something's failed there. We can monitor the tank levels, so we know from one day to the next if we're here and all of a sudden we drop a lot. Like last year, we had those leaks in the wintertime, and we could have caught that. We would have known something was going on. We could have. So it's wonderful. It's been the best thing we've ever done. I can sit in my office on my cell phone and I can pop through. They alarm us if somebody goes in the doors. It's just a good thing.
How long has that been in effect, Brady? How long have you had it up and running?
It's just around Thanksgiving time, they finished it up.
So is that price tag an annual fee type of thing?
There will be an annual fee starting next year. The first year was part of the fees that we paid. It's a monthly fee, and I put a note down. I'll get that to Deneen so she can kind of figure that in for next year.
Okay.
All
Brady,
right.
will this help us reduce some of our labor costs?
Oh, yes, we haven't been up there since. I haven't had to go up there to look at anything. Only time we have had a person up there is to actually do the water reading. So yes, tremendously. Because before we were just guessing. We had to run up and measure the tanks, and yeah, it was
Over time, it'll pay for
it'll
itself.
pay for itself, I think.
It's a half an hour basically each way.
And about 45 minutes from Public Works up and then back again.
You
So
are-
you're a couple hours, 2.5 to 3 hours every time you go up there. So
Thank you. That's great. Glad we finally got that in.
So as of Thanksgiving, that's great. Any other comments on this, Deneen?
No, so those are the expenses that need to be approved as far as I'm aware right now.
Has our electricity, has it stayed pretty
Yeah.
normal as year over year?
Yeah, it's pretty consistent. It's an agenda item later on, but we did receive a notice from Rocky Mountain Power that they may be increasing, or I think they are increasing that rate. So we'll see how that impacts that amount.
Great job on the budget.
Thank you.
Any other comment on number 6 then? Spencer? Mike? You have any other comment?
I don't, no
Okay.
comment.
Then I'll make a motion, or open the floor for a motion then on item 6.
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget that's been presented for fiscal year 2021 and the notes that were given on 2020 as indicated.
Is there, do we
I
have a
will
second?
second that motion.
Okay. And all in favor say aye.
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 So that passes 3-0. Item 7, review and approve or deny outstanding receivables, past due accounts, and place or remove liens and take necessary corrective action. Deneen, do you have a comment on this?
I'll give some general information, and then if there's specific questions the board has, I'll turn that over to our accounting tech. There are about $325 in late fees that have been requested to be waived. Typically, the board has waived those late fees if it's a first-time request, and B, the property owner is current with their account. And I feel like all the properties meet those two criteria. So our recommendation would be to waive those fees that have been listed on the document.
Any comment? Mike?
I have no comment. I don't see anything out of order on these. that I could see, and
Yeah.
I'm
Item,
also good. I will make a motion, since they meet those two criteria, that we go ahead and waive the late fees for these individuals.
I will second that motion.
we have a first and second. All in favor say aye.
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 And aye. So that passes 3-0.
The other item on that schedule, just to be aware of, is there are about 6 properties who we have sent first notices of late payments, and a few of those we've actually sent second notice of late payments. It's not quite to the point where the district would issue a lien, but it's getting close, and we'll just follow the approved procedure for issuing those liens. There's also another property owner that there's not a valid mailing address. So what happens, our billing process is we monitor the land record sales, and the land record usually has an address on there for the property tax notices, and so that's where we mail the water bill to. And this particular address was returned as undeliverable. And we've pursued a few different avenues on our side of how to determine that address, but just haven't been successful. So if there's any recommendations that the board has of determining an address, the best we can kind of do is kind of keep checking back to see if that somehow gets updated, but just to make the board aware there is that issue.
I guess that's part of the problem when people tend to move.
Yeah, yep. Right. Or they have, I think probably with the issue here is that maybe the address is, it's the address of the house. So there's, people can find it if they're going to travel there, but probably it's not a post office delivery. Like that's probably a PO box or something like that,
Yeah.
so. But as far as I know, there's no action items for
Can I
that.
just make a suggestion on that? Maybe we get with the board, the HOA people up there, with the person that you can't find, and they may have a current address. That might be an easy way to find a neighbor or somebody that has a cabin next to those, and maybe we can find it that way.
I will follow through on that.
Great idea. Thanks, Brady.
I can get with the board. I'll get with Ryan Overton. He's the president.
So this is in reference to item 7 specifically then, that we just approved. So do we want to also continue this as a report back on what we can do?
You can continue it. This item shows up on every
Okay.
agenda anyway. And what we just talked about was informational, but we'll plan on reporting back on the next agenda
Okay.
item where we
All
are
right.
with this
So
property.
we'll have Mike then bring that back, okay.
Thanks, Deneen.
Mhm.
Then agenda item number 8, review notice of pricing change from Rocky Mountain Power. Deneen?
Sure. So this should just be included in your packet. I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the financial statements. But it does have the price changes. And I'm just looking and, for example, the winter pricing is going from 9.97 cents per kilowatt to 24.92 cents per kilowatt. So that's a pretty significant
Yeah, it
increase.
is.
And then the summer months is going from 11.93 cents per kilowatt to 28.16 cents per kilowatt. So I think that's just something probably over the next coming months, we'll monitor that and see how it's going to impact the budget.
Does that say that that's off-peak hours or peak hours?
So the numbers that I gave were on peak, but the off peak is a similar, it's like it's 3 times rate increase.
So that SCADA system will allow us to control that better. We'll be able to run things in the off-peak hours so we can save money there as well.
I can't hear that.
I'm sorry. With the SCADA system, we can monitor when the wells, or we have to, pumps run, so we can monitor, we'll run them from 11 at night till 6 in the morning, and then they shut off, so we're on the off-peak hours, which will save us some time. And I think that fee schedule, didn't it adjust, have a fee every month that they changed? It was quite a bit higher too.
I can't.
A user fee or something. It seemed like the one I read had a user fee or something. So it could be
Yeah.
a significant amount of money.
Deneen, in that notice, is there any indication of their justification for doubling?
Well, it looks like to me, reading this roughly, is what they're trying to do is encourage people to start using energy on the off-peak hours. Because one of the things that I didn't mention is that there's a credit for if you use it off-peak. And so it probably seems like that's the biggest change, is they're incentivizing people to use it, not when everyone else is using the system, when there's the higher demand.
Yeah, we'll want to pay close attention to that. It's, that seems like a huge increase.
When does that take effect?
Effective January 1, 2021.
Date of the letter. Excuse me, 10 days after the date of the letter. 10 days prior to the date of the letter, excuse me, again.
Tom, does that seem high to you?
It,
Doubling rates?
yeah, actually, it's almost triple, but yeah, it's 2.5 times higher. In the second paragraph, second sentence is like before, energy use will continue to be less expensive during off-peak periods, which includes weekend holidays and nighttime between 11 to 7. But it doesn't give any specifics as to why they're changing it. And they also changed when winter begins, which is now October. And so it's October through May, and then the summer period is June through September, so 8 months is winter and 4 months is summer. We're making these adjustments. Any additional comment?
I think we ought to contact Rocky Mountain and complain.
I'm sure we wouldn't be the only complaint that they're receiving. This is a pretty significant change.
Can we send a letter from this board to Rocky Mountain, ask them to give some clarity on this letter?
Sure. Think there's any reason that that couldn't take place. I also am not, I'm not an energy expert or an electricity expert. It does seem to me that the board did ask to be on the Schedule 6A pricing. And I don't know if there's another pricing option that the board could choose. if there was, that might be something to pursue.
That 6A schedule is for off-peak, on-peak hours. They may have changed some of the scheduling now, and that may be something we want to look into, but that reason we chose that is because we got a bigger discount on the off-peak hours than what we were getting, but that could have all been readjusted. We probably ought to have them send us a schedule of costs, and maybe there's a better option that way.
Another option that I'm thinking about is we could take the 2020 utility bills that we received, because it does break it down into on-peak, off-peak hours. It also mentions in this letter that there's a facility charge that they wouldn't charge any longer. And maybe compare what we paid last year to what this new pricing schedule would be.
I'm curious at how frequently they raise the prices. It's generally easier on consumers, people in general, to see a price increase over time, but when it's this large of a jolt, it's kind of a surprise. Most people are focusing on fixed type of budget schedules, and when you have these jolts, it throws them off in their individual planning.
Yeah, I think the other thing to be aware of is that it mentions in here in the letter, but it's not just Rocky Mountain who's saying we're going to increase prices. They had to go to the Public Service Commission, yeah, to get this approved before the rate was actually put into effect. So, it has been vetted in some sense.
That was my next question, so you just answered that, thank you.
Thoughts? We asked for a continuation, asked for some additional detail on this.
That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to possibly see if our
yeah.
county attorney could just send them a letter and have them explain these rate increases a little more to us.
And if there could be some history on rate increases, give us a picture of where this particular increase fits in the overall, maybe last 10 years. Give us a better feel for what is going on.
Okay.
Spencer?
I think you're just starting to see what's gonna happen as they shut
Absolutely.
coal-fired power plants down. This is just gonna be a continuous, you read about what our electricity rates could be in the near future, and it's scary.
Yeah, because we may fight over electricity coming out of Hoover Dam, for example. So then a motion is in order. Do we continue this?
Would it be better off to have the Public Works and the Attorney's Office look into seeing if we need to be on a different schedule? And I know we're probably not going to get anywhere in having them change the rate structure for us, but maybe we could get somewhere by seeing if we're still on the best pricing plan for our use.
Do that.
Okay.
Good thought.
So we have a motion.
Is this motionable? Is this something we need to
Think-
motion?
Yeah, this is just a review, isn't it?
Yes,
Or,
I think it's just a review.
right.
okay,
Review the notion.
So-
Notice.
but we want to hear back, so do we want to also continue this item as part of the full review process?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we do that.
Okay,
Just get it
so is there a motion to continue item number 9 for further information and review?
It's number 8, I think.
Excuse me, you're right, number 8.
Yeah, I'd make that motion that we continue number 8 to our next meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Continue. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so that's 3-0. Continue to next. Board. Okay. Item number 9, approve an order calling for a special meeting of the Soldier Summit Special Service District pursuant to Section 17B 1643 to amend the water fee schedule.
Adam Beck, County Attorney's Office. So in our past board meeting, we approved a new fee schedule. Now, we just need to have a public hearing on that. However, when it comes to having public hearings for changing the fees, there's some additional requirements. One of them requires additional notice. I think about 2 to 3 weeks notice before, as well as that public hearing has to be after 6 o'clock or 6 o'clock or later, allowing people who work to be able to have an opportunity to attend. And so in this order, I left the date and time blank to be able to give the board some discretion on when that would be. We can do it either at our next board meeting that's scheduled in May, but we'd have to change that time because it's currently scheduled for 10, or we could schedule it sometime in between this board meeting and the next. But again, because of the requirements for this kind of public hearing, we have to do it late, and we have to give a couple weeks' notice.
More public comment or observation of at least.
Correct, yes.
I need a refresh on the rate change. What did we do?
Well, there is actually a copy of it in the minutes from last meeting.
Okay.
I
Need to go through those.
can show you what it looks like. It will look like this. No, I'll explain it here, but
Right.
it will look like.
Right there, right?
That's it.
It's just an increase in the consumption rate, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, before it was just a flat rate, people could use as much water as they wanted at that same flat rate. This is tiered, this is consistent with how many other special service districts do their water fees. And so, for most consumers, it's not going to be a change. Most people use in that 3,000 gallons or less per month. There's been a few people up there who use far more than that, and so this is an attempt to promote conservation of water.
Can I take just a minute again? With the proposed increase with UPNL, Rocky Mountain Power, are we better to try to get our hands around what it's gonna cost before we do this, so we don't have to go back and do it again for everybody that's using water? It's gonna cost us more to pump it up there. So do we wanna proceed with this now, or do we wanna see how this power cost is
Our
gonna
next meeting
affect
will
us?
be in May, right? So that might be a good suggestion to wait until May to make those decisions.
So you're gonna have to redo
Can
the,
you put together costs of what you think the new power updates are going to cause us?
Yeah, I don't think it'll affect too much on the low side. We just wanna get people away from using 100,000 gallons of water like they were doing last year, cause that's not what that system was intended to
Right.
run. So that was the main concern with our increase, but I'm just looking at if, and we may not even have to adjust. I'll get with Deneen and we'll throw some numbers at it for next time, so we have kind of an idea of what we're paying now and what future costs would be.
Okay,
So are we suggested to continue to item number 9 until the next general meeting?
you gotta call for a meeting for the rate increase.
Right, so, so is this the separate meeting for the rate increase tied to what we had just suggested? Do we need to go back and confirm what the pricing would be for the power? Are the two of them tied that closely that we gotta hear them separate, or hear them as a single item? Because one will affect the other?
I think that would be a good recommendation to just continue this item. Once we've been able to look at the numbers, once we've been able to see how that's going to affect the costs of things, then at the next meeting, we can schedule the public hearing.
Okay,
Or Yeah, I think that would work unless you have a.
Because would that affect this pricing here too? That's what I was curious about as well.
Can I mention something, which is, if I remember correctly, the pricing would only impact the per gallon fee and making that a graduated schedule. But we don't do meter readings until May anyway. So that timing would not push us back or cause any problems to get the information for the next meeting in May and then schedule a public hearing to discuss the rate changes. Right, what's that?
After the next meeting.
Right, exactly, yep.
So go ahead and continue this item until the May general meeting.
Yep.
And then at that time, schedule a special meeting.
Right.
Okay. So, do we have a motion?
I would make a motion that we go ahead and move the agenda item number 10 to the adoption resolution adopting updates to the Soldier Summit Service District billing policy and procedure to our next board meeting.
It's gonna be number 9.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
I would amend that then to item number 9. Is that right? Yes, item number 9, to make that decision on to amend the fee schedule, to hold that, make that decision to hold that meeting in May, or to hold, I'm not saying that very well. That we will go ahead and hold a meeting to amend our water fee schedule and make the decision when that meeting will be in our board meeting in May. Maybe that made sense.
But we won't have the special meeting in conjunction with our May meeting. Is that what you're saying, Mike?
This will be separate.
Yeah, it will be a separate
Okay.
meeting.
And then at that time, we'll then adopt a time and date for the special meeting.
This will.
I will second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, so that's 3-0. We'll continue this. Item number 10, which is going to be close to 9 too. But anyway, adopt a resolution adopting updates to the Soldier Summit Special Service District billing policy and procedure. Is there someone here to speak to that?
Adam Beck, County Attorney's Office. In our past board meeting, we had a question presented to us. The question was, if a landowner who is currently billed at a connected rate, having the water connected, if that landowner sells that property, will the new landowner get the property with a connected rate, or will we have it revert to a non-connected status? That was the question that was brought to the board. It was determined from the last board meeting that what we would do is with any time some property is sold, that we would charge the new owner at a non-connected rate, so that the new owner isn't charged at the higher rate, and then they can choose to opt in if they want to have the water connected. So that was what was directed in the last meeting, and so on number 10, we just updated the billing policy and procedure to include that new policy, as well as I was able to work with Jackie, and she was able to update some of the language of the policy that was in need of updating.
Okay. So this one then simply is a adoption of the resolution that was spoken to during the last board meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Given what you said, because I wasn't here, but given what you said, is there a motion to adopt?
I'll let Spencer make that motion.
Spencer, would you like to make a motion on this item number 10?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution adopting the updates to the Soldier Summit Special Service District billing policy and procedure.
I will second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, 3-0 passes. Item 10, ratify the signing of the new insurance policy.
I'll make a motion that we ratify that, that's been signed by Spencer Park.
Since I signed it, I will second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes aye, so that passes 3-0. Number 12, item 12, adopt a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement with Utah Local Governments Trust. Adam?
Adirondack County Attorney's Office. So we got our insurance through the Utah Local Governments Trust. I was able to work with Dave Shawcroft, the Civil Division Chief, and we found that this new policy has really great coverage. To work with the trust, they require entering into this interlocal agreement. And so that's why it's before you today.
Any other discussion on this one?
Oh, there it is.
I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement with the Utah Local Governments Trust.
I will second that.
We have a first and a second. Do we have a vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, so 3-0, we adopt that. And I note it takes effect January 22nd of this year through January 21st of next year. All right. Item 13, set a date, time, and location for the next board meeting, which is 10 a.m. May 12th here in these chambers in Provo, Utah. Is there any discussion on item 13?
That date works for me, so unless there's any concern with you guys, I'll go ahead and make that motion that we approve May 12th, 2021 at 10 o'clock in the Utah County Commission chambers as our next meeting.
Time works for me, I'll second that motion.
And let me just confirm, since I'm the new kid here, making sure I'm actually here. Yes, I can do that. 10 o'clock? I can do that. Okay, so we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so 3-0. All right, that concludes our regular agenda items. Are there any public comments here in the room? Any online, Alice? No, none online. Then, seeing none, shall we go ahead and make a motion to adjourn?
Before we do that, I'd just like to thank Alice for the nice production of in preparation of this meeting with everything that she has been doing. Thank you, Alice, and Deneen, for all of your work. Thank you.
And Deneen has her fingers in every financial aspect of the county, no matter where you go. She is in every building, every floor, sometimes every room, making sure things are working correct.
It's my twin.
And further welcome you, Tom.
Thank you very much. This will be fun. Then
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
So we made a motion and second, and all in favor say aye.
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 3-0, we have now adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Spencer.